Every single financial habit you were taught to be proud of might be the exact reason you're still here. Think about it. You track your spending, you save every month, you paid off that credit card last year, you have a retirement account growing, maybe you even own a home or you're close to it. By every measuring stick society handed you, you're doing it right. And still, something doesn't add up. The number in your bank account doesn't match the level of discipline you bring to your money every single day. You've been working the system, following the rules, and the rules keep producing the same result. That feeling isn't confusion, it's a signal. Because there's a pattern hiding inside the 7 most responsible financial habits in America, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Not because these habits are obviously reckless, but because they're designed to look like the right move. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why hard work inside a broken script produces the same result every single time. And more importantly, what the exit actually looks like. Here's the best way I know to show you what's happening. Think of your finances like a car. Your speedometer, that's your income, your hustle, your discipline. Most middle-class people spend their entire working life optimizing the speedometer, working harder, saving more, budgeting tighter, racing at 80, 90, sometimes 100 miles per hour. But the odometer, that's your actual wealth, the real distance you've traveled. And for millions of hardworking people running full speed on this financial treadmill, the odometer barely moves. Every habit on this list is feeding the speedometer. The odometer is sitting still. Here's habit number 1. Habit 1, saving money in a savings account. I know it sounds almost absurd to call this a problem. Your parents were proud when you opened that account. Your bank sent a congratulations email. But here's what the congratulations left out. The average savings account in America currently earns around 0.4% annually. Inflation runs between 3 and 4%. Which means every single year you leave money safe in that account, you're losing purchasing power you will never get back, not visibly, not suddenly, just quietly, consistently, until one day the gap is enormous. Saving feels like discipline. In this environment, saving without a strategy is slow erosion. You're watching your wealth disappear in slow motion and calling it responsibility. The money is there, the distance isn't growing. Habit 2, pouring everything into your primary residence. There's a deeply held American belief that your home is your greatest investment. And for some people, in some circumstances, that belief isn't entirely wrong. But for most middle-class families, the home becomes something else. It becomes a vault. It locks up hundreds of thousands of dollars in an asset you cannot sell without losing your place to live, cannot access without taking on new debt, and that costs you money every single month in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and interest. Real estate investors understand something that homeowners often don't. Equity you can't use isn't wealth, it's the appearance of wealth. Your net worth statement looks impressive, your actual financial freedom doesn't match it. The odometer shows miles, none of those miles go anywhere new. Habit 3, maximizing retirement accounts without liquidity strategy. This one requires precision because maximizing your 401k is not inherently wrong, but it can quietly become a cage disguised as a strategy. When every extra dollar gets locked inside a pre-tax account you cannot touch without a 10% penalty until age 59 and a half, you've built a gilded cage, high net worth on paper, zero flexibility in practice. When an opportunity appears, a business, a real estate deal, a market window, your capital is unavailable. The lock is from the inside. Wealth that only exists on paper 25 years from now is not freedom today. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because habits 1, 2, and 3, they are not random mistakes. They are exactly what every well-meaning institution in your life has guided you toward. Your bank profits from your savings account. The mortgage industry profits from your belief that real estate is always the smart move. The financial services industry earns fees every year from capital locked inside your retirement accounts. These habits don't keep you middle class by accident. They keep you middle class by design. Not because someone is plotting against you, but because a system that depends on predictable saving patterns, regular debt service, and steady consumption functions best when you never question the script. Habit 4, the invisible social tax. This is the one almost nobody talks about, and it may be the most expensive item on this entire list. The social tax is money you spend not because you want the thing, but because someone who matters to you might see you without it. The car you lease because your neighborhood drives that kind of car, the vacation photos that justify the credit card bill, the kitchen renovation that wasn't necessary until the in-laws were coming to visit. Behavioral economists call it Veblen spending, consumption as communication. You're not buying a product, you're buying the signal that product sends. And the brutal truth is this: you are paying a significant premium, sometimes thousands of dollars a year, to maintain your social standing with people who are doing the exact same financial calculation on their own insecurities. Your speedometer impresses them, their odometer isn't moving either. Habit 5, performative frugality. You cut the gym membership, you stopped buying the daily coffee, you built a budget spreadsheet and stuck to it. Meanwhile, the $700 monthly car payment stays, the mortgage stretching 40% of your take-home income stays, the lifestyle inflation from your last raise, the bigger apartment, the newer phone, all of that stays. Performative frugality is optimizing the smallest costs while leaving the structural ones completely untouched. It's the financial equivalent of bailing water from a sinking ship with a teaspoon while the hull stays open. You feel disciplined, the ship still sinks. Here's what's really happening. Every one of these habits creates the impression of responsible behavior while quietly consuming the exact resources you need to actually build wealth. The harder you try inside this system, the more you prove the system right, because the system wasn't designed to produce wealth. It was designed to produce compliant participants. Habit 6, avoiding all debt because debt is bad. Wealthy individuals understand a distinction that most people were never taught. There are two entirely different kinds of debt. Consumer debt, borrowed money used to purchase things that lose value, is destructive. That's the debt everyone rightfully warns you about, and they're correct. But leverage, borrowed capital deployed to acquire assets that generate returns above the cost of borrowing, is how most significant private wealth in America is actually built. When you avoid all debt because you absorb the lesson that debt equals danger, you are refusing the exact mechanism that turns a modest amount of capital into a compounding machine. You stay safe, you stay right here. Habit 7, the most invisible one. This habit is about the energy you spend performing financial virtue. Not just working for money, that's obvious, but working to be seen as responsible, working to be the person in your social circle who has it together, working to signal to your parents, your colleagues, your neighbors that you are making the smart choices. When your identity becomes inseparable from being the person who does money right, you will resist, often unconsciously, any move that looks unconventional, risky, or different from the script. And the script says, work hard, save steadily, don't make waves. The script also guarantees you'll arrive somewhere around retirement age with just enough to survive, and a quiet, persistent question about where the years actually went. Here is the truth almost no one inside this system wants you to reach. The habits that keep you middle class and the habits that look financially responsible from the outside are very often the exact same habits. Your discipline is real, your effort is real. But effort poured into a container designed to hold you in place doesn't move you forward. It just proves you can hold still with a disciplined expression on your face. The people who escape this don't have more willpower, they don't work harder. They redirected that same discipline away from signals and toward systems, away from the speedometer toward the odometer. They stopped measuring their financial life by what it looked like to everyone watching, and started measuring it by the distance it was actually covering. That shift isn't complicated, but it is uncomfortable because it means looking at every financial habit you're currently proud of and asking a different question. Not does this look responsible, but does this move the odometer? Does this grow an asset? Does this create liquidity? Does this generate returns that compound independently of your labor? If the answer is no, you're racing on a closed track, full speed, going nowhere. The money is already there. Most people earn enough to build something real. What changes everything isn't the income. It's where that money goes after it leaves your hands and whose goals it serves once it arrives. Because here's what personal finance almost never acknowledges. The most dangerous financial trap is not poverty. It's the trap that feels like success. The one with the right vocabulary, the right accounts, the right approved habits. And an odometer that hasn't moved in 20 years. You know the habits now. The only question left is whether you're willing to trade the applause for the distance.